Should Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell, leadership of the party, should they endorse illegal strikes, as Len McCluskey has suggested?
Well, I think the nurses haven't been paid for how many? 14 years, 4 years. They're getting pretty fed up. I was a seaman, 10 years at sea. We had to have a strike, which was considered by the government, then a Labour government, to be illegal. But we changed the law, and we were given the same laws as every other worker. These are controversial matters. But I got to tell you, where you could go on tribunals and dispute it, they've scrapped the tribunals, made it too expensive for workers to go to. This is a government embarked to try and weaken ordinary working people representing themselves. They're the arguments they face every day. They talk about that in the pub in the hall, I might tell you. Yeah. They're the issues, and we have to find a solution to them.
So you would support the illegal strikes?
Why has that become an issue to you and the other fella there, sir?
Well,
why has that become an issue?
It's because the leadership won't give a clear answer, despite the fact that union leaders are speaking out about it.
Well, they're entitled to argue for their members. Have you ever been on strike?
I have actually, yes.
Of course. You've got a big wage, though,
I have been on strike, yes.
Oh, have you?
Yes, because I'm a union member, yes.
And you'll get more of the wage. Most of those people who argue this are on very big wages, doing separate contract deals in the media, as we hear day by day, and then attack others that might want to defend their position where they've had no increase in wages for 4 years.
No, here's the problem.
Sorry, Piers, can I just come back on that? This is not a personal issue about me, with respect, Lord Prescott. This is about the fact that the law has been changed so that strikes are only legal if 50% of those entitled to vote do so. And yet there are union leaders who are saying that they will go out on illegal strikes, and we want to know whether the Labour leadership and the Labour Party would support that.
Well, I know that's how you... Listen, I was a seaman. How do you get a ballot with seamen spread all over the world? Tell me. How does seamen then have a vote where there's a ballot for a strike? They're all over the ruddy world, and yet they limit the time to a certain time. These are difficult negotiations. They're not helped by people like yourselves who just want to make that.
I'll tell you what's not helpful.
You want to quote.
What's not helpful is people like you, Lord Prescott, and we had it from McDonnell, we've had it from Corbyn, is people who profess to be straight talkers simply refusing to give a straight answer to a simple question. So let me ask you one more time. Do you support Len McCluskey when he says that illegal strikes are permissible and thinks that people should join them? Yes or no?
I think you... No, it isn't yes or no. Listen, when I asked you whether in phone tapping... When I asked you a straight question, were you involved in phone tapping in an interview we were doing, you say, oh, my job is to ask the question. No, you're involved in the process like everybody else. It's not a straight yes or no. And if you're in industrial disputes, as I've been most of my life, you'll know it's not straight yes or no. But it's where you stand.
So it was wrong. It was wrong of
being disadvantaged.
Okay, so it was wrong of Len McCluskey then to state his position on this. He shouldn't have done that.
No, he's a union leader. He states it. Let's have an argument with him. At the end of the day, the politicians might have to decide what is the law in this and whether you observe or not. What would you change? Would you bring tribunals back so they don't have to go on strike? You've already put a blooming penalty on them. They can't afford to go to tribunals. Perhaps if we got a balance of how we handle disputes, that's what we should do, instead of getting questions like you two saying, do you believe in a legal strike? Get out in the real world.
Yeah, here's the real world.
OK, is that it?
Here's the real world. Is your inability to answer a straight question about actually quite an important issue is very telling, Lord Prescott. And you can get as personal and angry and abusive as you like, but that won't hide the fact to viewers that you, like John McDonnell, like Jeremy Corbyn yesterday, will refuse to answer a simple question because you don't want to have headlines that have you either endorsing or not endorsing illegal strikes. And that is the truth.
It's not about whether we convince you or Susanna. Let the electorate decide whether I'm putting forward a reasonable point of view. When their day at work, when they get sacked and they've got no right, when they get no wages for 4 years. It's not convincing you, it's convincing the electorate. So I don't think I've just got to convince you. You've got your own particular view. You can ask the questions, I can give the answers. Let the electorate and the ordinary people decide it. And they've more experience than you in these situations.
They might well be more experienced, but they've also been watching you for 5 minutes refuse to answer a simple question.
Well, you keep saying that. That's all you've got in your head. But let the public decide. Let the people that watching this programme. You think it hits home. In the pubs in Hull, they're living day to day with domestic circumstances when after the law is loaded against them. The Social Security wraps it on the poor. The few are great, not the many. And this is where we stand, right? I'm for the many, not the few.
How much are you earning in the House of Lords these days, Lord Prescott?
I get £300, £150 goes to my secretary and £150 goes to a hotel. Do you do that? Do you spend all your bloody expenses? No, you don't. You're coining it in and asking me about £300. I live in the north. I have to travel down to London. That's half of it. And I do have to live because I haven't got the kind of living accommodation in London, right? So that's where it goes. You want to put that into your analysis? What would you think of that?
Lord Prescott, here's what I think. It's always good to talk to you this early in the morning. It gets everybody's juices flowing. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
You were great, Susanna.